HID versus LED. Well, how many times are you going to see this battle, right? Well, I'm doing my own little battle because I think it would be kind of fun to compare my cheap HID kit to some LED bulbs that I have on hand. To start off with, the HIDs I am running are an Amazon brand. They are called Car Rover. They are H11 6000K at 55 watts, and they are also CAN bus because when I bought it 3 years ago, I didn't know if the truck needed CAN bus or not because me and my buddy weren't too sure. So I got a whole mess of wires in there. Been running them for 3 years, no issues at all. They are great to me. They've been working great. They are bright shite. I had one defect when I first got them. I went to put them in, and the one bulb was actually defective. And the sad part was I had to get my warranty through China instead of just returning the kit and probably just buying another one. I actually had to wait 2 weeks basically to get my bulb replacement. Then I had HIDs. So, and I've been running them ever since. Had no issues. But there is at least one or two cons in the truck when we get out there of what I kind of don't like about the HIDs. So stay tuned for that soon. But what the HIDs are up against is not a really high competitor. I mean, I don't have the GTR lightings to compare to, so I don't feel like spending $300 for you guys. Sorry. But if someone wants to send me or start a GoFundMe page, be my guest. What I'm comparing them to is the 2-stroke LEDs. These are 2400 lumens each, raw lumens each, 23 watts each, 5700 Kelvin, so they should be whiter than the HIDs. And my opinion, my HIDs are quite blue, so they're not quite 6000 like they should be. So yeah, so there's that. So there's the 2-stroke we're running there. I paid also the value. My HID kit was $70. These are $170. What I'm also comparing them to is the T1 series of Auxbeam lighting. These are 8,000 lumens per pair, 70 watts, are 6,500 Kelvin. So these will have a little bit of a blue to them. So these are number one basically through Auxbeam. So we're going to see how they compare to an HID. Then the latest and greatest is the F16 Plus. I don't know why I'm like so happy about these. They just look so good. So these are 6,000 Kelvin. So these should be the exact same as the HIDs, which I know they're not going to be. These are white. 7,000 lumens, more focused design on them. They're gold, so they're practically awesome, right? 7,000 lumens, 70 watts each, or 70 watts per pair. These and the T1 series are $1 difference at 68 US or about 90 Canadian each. So they're pretty comparable there versus 170 or $70. So 7,000 lumens and more focus, but 6,000K, and we all know anywhere from 55 to 6,000 Kelvin is the whitest and brightest you will get. So that's where I think these will kind of, they make up for that little less lumens, but better color. So we're gonna do a shootout. I'm only running the low beams with HIDs. I'm not going to run them in high beams or anything because I'm not going to waste my time with that because HIDs and high beams are a waste of time and useless. Anyone that tells you that they're great, no. They need warm-up time. You won't be able to run them as long unless you're on a back road by yourself, then go for it. But HIDs also scatter so much light with reflectors, you can't put them to use. Some people maybe think they don't, but I know for a fact they do because I've seen many HIDs in cars and they scatter light like a mofo. So I'm not doing any high beams here with that. This is strictly a low beam with projectors, output comparison. That's going to be it. And then basically we're going to rank it. Is HID top dog or is it going to be second, third, or maybe at the bottom, which I doubt it will be. I'm sure it's going to beat one of these bulbs, but we got to find out because I have no clue yet. I haven't done it yet. So if you're watching this video, I don't know if I've uploaded the other two videos or at least another one yet. So I'm not sure what order I'm doing this in. Obviously, if you watch the other videos, you see me sitting in the same chair, the same shirt. It's because I'm doing this all at once. So I'm answering that question, but it's also obvious. So I'd rather not do 3 different scenarios of explaining bulbs when I can just sit here and show you guys a nice cool air because it's 30 degrees or 90 degrees outside right now. and it's 9:30 at night. So yeah, it's getting dark soon, so I'm going to be doing some HID comparisons to this with my F16 Plus and all that. It's kind of all similar videos there because I've done the Auxbeam shootout, or am doing the Auxbeam shootout, and also doing a 2-stroke versus Auxbeam bulbs too. So I'm doing all three and breaking them up into 3 videos because I don't want to turn this into an hour-long video. So let's get right into it and let's start seeing some different outputs and seeing which one's better. HID low beams only, parked in the garage, so quite a wide spread. Morimoto 2-stroke LEDs. I will go outside and show you guys the color a little bit more. They are a lot more white, and the output is really good for what they are there too. It's the F16 Plus, baby. Wow, okay. T1 series, so that's them. The beam looks great. Lots of wide beam over there. I mean, I can see the third car over there. There's a little bit of a high spot on the garage like usual. HID low beams parked on a gravel road. So there is a bend turn, and then there's another turn that goes off. So this is the wide spread of it, and this is also in cab view. Morimoto 2-stroke LEDs in the low beams projectors. Quite a nice spread of light there. Just gonna kind of go up there a little bit there. Very nice, clean pattern. Doesn't seem like there's any high spots. It has a nice wide beam. We're shooting out to the road over there a little bit there, and then shooting as far as about right there, as you see on the camera, kind of speak. So pretty good. This is the F16 Plus. I'm actually seeing a little bit more of a spread over on the road here. It looks like it shoots out a little bit more there. It seems like there's a little bit more on the edge over here as well on the driver's side. But overall, the color seems to be pretty much spot on as well. T1 series. Woo! Those are not too shabby. So, right off the bat, what I'm seeing is that they're actually shooting a little bit lower. So, and basically, that's something you guys gotta accommodate for, is that every bulb and basically every bulb or every LED you try, they will have a different position in the projectors or even high beams because of where they sit. So sometimes you might have to adjust up or down for that, depending on your liking. So, but looks like the ditch line, the ditches, and the wide spread are pretty good. Not as bright because of the 6500, not 6000, because whiter would be easier to see. But overall, very nice wide spread. This is HID. Two-stroke LEDs, and this kind of follows the road here, so it's got a nice curve along there. So very open, very nice. F16 Plus, and the beam doesn't seem to be as nicely curved on the bottom, but overall I'm liking that a lot. T1 series, it looks like it has a little bit more down low. Technically for these, I would actually probably raise them up a couple inches just because they are shooting a little bit lower than what I like and what I personally have set up already before. So and comparing them to the other ones, they are shooting so far the lowest that I've seen. So but overall, really good. Standing in front of the grill with HID, so you can see it shoots all the way as far as about right about out there into this corner there, faces off in the road, and then it shoots as far as actually around the bend here. So it goes like this, and that's as far as it's shooting out there. So I can actually see a little bit off into the sides here, and then it shoots as far as that top little bush right about there. Right around here is as far as I get out. And then Morimoto 2-stroke LEDs, and very nice white pattern. You know, this is 5700 Kelvin, so this is pretty much as white as we're getting. And indeed, it is white like a light bar. Very nice. Shooting out on the grass over here. You can see the little grass there, and then there's the road like usual. So I can physically see the corner of the road over here. Like if I look up on my own eyes, I can see the road from here. So it's a very nice pattern. There's the pattern on the ground. F16 plus in front of the truck. Like I said, the spread is there. The white is there. Like I said, it seems like it's a nice wider spread. It's pretty dang good. I like it. Color, judging now that I'm looking a little harder at it without looking at it through the camera, it does seem like it is the 6000. The other ones are the 57, so there is that little bit of a difference, and it seems like I can kind of see it, but I mean very, very, very faint. So here's the ground of how it looks for shooting around in front of the truck. T1 series, front of the vehicle. This is, like I said, the wide spread of it. And they are shooting a little bit lower. I don't know if it's gonna be able for you guys to tell, but indeed they are, because I know exactly where I was seeing the other LED bulbs, and it was just a smidge up. So it's probably about an inch or two down. You know, a couple turns with the Phillips screwdriver and you're right back to where you need. So, because the beam shoots quite low here, I bet you my fog lights are gonna come right into line with those. But overall, nice curve all the way around like that. So very, very good. And here's the front of the truck with the beam. So well, wasn't that fun, eh? So to conclude, the HID versus LED, obviously there's all the differences in the output, right? There's a lot of downsides to an HID in some cases. So like for instance, the one that I have here, this is the whole shebang. So you got the HID, then you got the plug that goes into the factory harness, and then you got the CAN bus system, then you got the igniter and all that. You obviously wouldn't have this, but you would still have all these extra cords for the igniter and all this. So a little bit extra hardware, and actually quite a bit more weight, because I mean, well, some of them are plastic. This one's aluminum or whatever, or steel, whatever it may be. So it's a little heavy. That's a little downside. There's really no wiring to it. It's all plug and play, but it's more wiring. So it can leave a little bit of a mess if you can't really, tidy it up in there. Another downside is that, at least for this HID, I've actually seen some HIDs warm up faster, but this one takes about roughly 30 seconds. The fact that it says 6,000, and I thought I always, for the longest time, I had 65, but apparently on the ad that I bought, it said 6. And these are like 65 or 7 actually. They are quite blue. More blue than any of the LED bulbs that I've shown you guys. But the output of them has always been great. I mean, they work as a function like kind of a halogen. They are plenty bright for what they are. But what I did notice actually in my headlight, when I actually took this HID out when I was swapping through the bulbs, for the first time I did it, I noticed that there was like a burn or maybe like a yellow mark. If it's yellow, maybe someone can chime in, but around right where the HID basically sits, it was yellow, so almost like a pea stain kind of thing. So it might be slowly burning / melting. I'm not too sure, but when I was doing the testing on them on the outside of the truck here, because I was reading amperage, I'll get to that in a minute. These were quite hot. So just holding the ends of the plastic, I could feel the heat from the HID. So that's how hot these get. I don't know if they get as hot or hotter than a halogen, let's say. I know halogens get hot, but these definitely were getting hot over the years. So, but also, and another downside to these as well, in regards to on and off too, you do not want to turn HIDs on and off, on and off. They can't really do, at least from what I've seen in my personal opinion on it, you don't want to be turning your HIDs on and off, on and off, on and off, because you're trying to warm them up, but then you're turning them off before they warm up. You know, it's kind of like starting your truck and then shutting it off like right after. You know, you're not letting it warm up, kind of thing. Same thing for this. At least that's my kind of take on it for sure. So that's basically the downsides to that, and the pros to, like I said, the output's great, but they're a little bit more blue. But there is whiter ones. I mean, you can get like the retrofit source HID kit. It's the Morimoto Elite kit or whatever it may be. I think you can get 65 or 55. I would always get 55 over 65 for sure. The 35 watt, 55 watt, I mean, either or will work. My buddy Jolly, he ran a 35 watt. I never did compare that to this one, sadly. But, I mean, I've seen plenty of his photos, and they were plenty bright, and he said he loved them. But, I mean, now he's running the Morimoto headlights, so he's even better. I mean, HIDs are hard to beat in most cases. But at least for this $70 kit that I bought, that's basically comparable to the ones that I have here and the Morimotos. I think it's had its day. So, but I mean, they perform well, but keep those other cons in mind, obviously, for it. As for moving on to the LEDs, LEDs are LEDs. I mean, they perform as good as you can give it, right? So, just like HIDs at the same time, there's specific projectors or reflectors to them. So, I mean, they perform all as good as they can. I think personally that the F16 and the Morimotos both put on par with the HIDs. Personally, like I said, this is just all me and my comparison. I'm not trying to, big a shout out to Auxbeam or the Morimotos or the HID kit. I mean, like I said, this is an Amazon kit. I think the LEDs are winning on this HID kit specifically. Obviously, some other HIDs might perform better, but I mean, like I said, there's those downsides, so you got to weigh in those options there. Do you want something that's just low key and you can plug right in and done, and you don't have to worry about warm up times or possibly melting your headlights? I mean, some people thought about that even. Some people commented saying that you'll burn your projectors. I never had that, but like I said, on the inside right there, right after the socket, there's yellow marks all around. So I'm guessing that these HIDs were just getting hot, too hot for what they were in, and being that's factory, I mean, what do you expect, right? So LEDs, smaller, less wiring to deal with, or plug and play kind of stuff. On and off switch is fast. You can turn them on and off all you want. You got instant light. In most cases, you'll have a better color too, a more focused light too. I mean, my HIDs were always kind of spread out. It felt like the light wasn't focused anywhere. It was like kind of evenly all projected out. With the LEDs, I found they have more efficient lighting in front kind of thing, so I can see a little bit more too, but plus white is just easier to see than the blue HIDs I had. And I noticed that comparing the LEDs to this, I didn't have any of those high spots there. So because these HIDs seem to always glare people, that's why I had to aim them down so much. I aimed them down twice, even on stock, before I lifted. For some reason, there was like a nice square in comparison to the LEDs there, and that's what was actually causing that little tip of glare, I think, more or less. So it wasn't giving me a clean 100% cutoff line. There was that square lighting there, which sucked, but it is what it is. Otherwise, guys, I think the LEDs won this. I had a lot of fun doing this. I mean, this video is part of two other videos I'm doing. I'm doing the Auxbeam shootout, or I did the Auxbeam shootout. I'm not sure how I'm doing this yet. And then I'm doing the Morimoto 2-stroke versus Auxbeam lighting. So it was a long process. I mean, switching between bulbs and this and that, right? So, because I mean, all of these videos that you see are comparison. I was doing the exact same footage for the other videos too. So, and I spent at least an hour on the gravel road, swapping the LEDs there. And then the alleyway took me a little bit longer because I was fighting with stuff and this and that for some reason. But when I did the gravel shots, the gravel road there with the trees, it was a lot smoother and faster, but the only downside was mosquitoes were killing me. I got bites all over my legs. Yeah, I've had fun, guys. I hope you guys like this video. I kind of hope this shows you and gives you some pointers on whether or not what style to go. Another fun fact that HIDs will keep it warm on your projectors because I don't think LEDs have, because the LED doesn't get hot, it's the base of it that gets hot, right? So, or maybe both, but at least the base of it really gets warm. So, and that's why they have a big fan to cool them, right? So what I can say is, and with weather conditions like winter especially, if you get ice built up on your headlights, that's kind of a downside there between HIDs and LED, but are you wanting to sacrifice possibly melting your housings or burning stuff up, or, you know, with HIDs too, I mean, some can just randomly fail. I never had a problem with this kit, but I mean, I've seen a lot of people actually have problems with igniters on the Morimoto kits. So, I mean, nothing's perfect, but that's something to consider. I mean, LEDs are a little bit easier to replace and stuff like that. So, it is what it is there. But also, HIDs have a more potential of fire hazard too with the igniters and stuff. Like I said, there's more hardware into it. So, that's another problem there too to keep in mind. To fully conclude this video, I'm just going to give you guys some amp readings. So I tried to do the amp readings as best I could for the HIDs. I didn't want to attach a wire, my little wire tester to it. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. So I just hooked them up to my high beam. It was the closest one to it. Turned them on, let them warm up, and then I put my amp reader on the positive wire on the closest to the HID bulb, and all I got out of it was 0.4 amps. With 0.4 amps, you've got, say, 13 volts is 5 watts, I'm guessing. I'm going to double check my math here. That's 4 amps. 55 watts should be 4 amps. And what I got was 0.4 amps, actually. 55 watts divided by 13.8 volts, you get 4 amps. For some reason, I was only getting 0.4 amps through the harness. So I don't know what the deal is on that. And then, so to compare that, I mean, they obviously were powerful, so I don't know if there was something wrong with the amp reader, if I was reading something wrong, because I had them plugged into the harness, and I had them on the high beam there, and I ran it through the AC mode because DC wasn't working. I'm guessing that's just because of the way, you know, it's drawing power through. I don't know that whole the AC DC thing. I can't figure it out half the time, but whatever. So that's what I did, just so you guys know. So, and then comparing it to the Morimotos, those put out 1.53 amps, so a little bit more. Then comparing them to the T1 series was again 2 amps, and then the F16 actually pretty much had the most at 2.2 amps roughly. So basically 2 amps all around, and then 1.5 for the Morimotos. But the Morimoto LEDs are rated for lower power. They rated them at 46 watts a pair, so 23 watts. So, and these were all per bulbs too, right? So 1.5 amps for the Morimotos is 3 amps total. That's pretty much the conclusion on all that, guys, just to kind of give you the amp readings there. Yeah, like I said, I have fun doing this. I love doing my comparison. I'm going with the F16 Plus on the lows and highs. I'm getting rid of the Morimotos just simply because I want to start running Auxbeam, and just that way I have my own personal review on their product and stuff like that. So, and being a dealer, I thought I'd just stick to my one brand kind of thing instead of mixing everything up. So that's what's going to be the conclusion for me there. Have a good one, guys. Stay tuned for the other videos, or watch the other videos. Like I said, I don't know which one I'm doing yet. Watch those other fun videos. It took me a long time to do all this, and I spent a lot of time doing it just so everything could be very comparable and, you know, accurate. So later.